Welcome back to Unfiltered, Unspoken. And as we like to see that smile on your face, you like that intro?
I feel blessed.
Thank you. And that's how we want our guests to feel is blessed and comfortable while we share these life experiences. And we want to thank you for being a guest on Unfiltered, Unspoken podcast. And if you could come and introduce yourself, and then after that, Sid is going to kick off the first question.
You got it. My name is Tracy Turner. I'm a psychic medium and I'm a medical intuitive. I learned at a very early age that I was gifted. And I've used my gifts my whole life. I became professional at it, meaning getting paid for it when I was 17 years old. I believe that there's a difference between being spiritual and being religious. I honor everybody who's religious. Religion is community. What I deal with is spirituality. I believe that our spirits are given to us by a maker, by a source, and it's God-given. And I believe that religion is community, and that's man-made. So I welcome all those who are religious, and I welcome all those who are spiritual. What I do is I say a prayer before I start, and I say a prayer before I finish. At one time, I used to be 400 pounds and going upward. And that's because every time I did a reading, I kept everybody's stuff with me. I didn't know how to release it. I didn't know how to let it go. So one day I said to God, I can't carry this weight anymore. I'm only 5 feet at best. Give me a sign. Tell me what to do. And he said to me, and my God is a he because of the tone. It's the tone in which I hear the voice, not that it's a he or a she in a sexual manner. It's the tone. And he said, let's come up with a prayer that before you start a reading and when you finish a reading, you won't remember what you're doing. You'll be my voice. And you'll be the voice of those on the other side. So as a psychic, I'm able to go into the book of your life and all your lives with God. And I call it the book of reeds or the book of life. Other people call it the Akashic records. And as a medium, I'm able to connect on this side of me with those that have passed over. And as a medical intuitive, I'm able to go into one's body. And this all was created and I honed in from an early time in my life. I was about 4 when I started talking to God and angels. And I thought everybody did it. And so now I've learned to say the same prayer over and over before I start and when I finish. So when I give someone their information, it's theirs alone. It's not mine. I'm a channel. I'm a telephone. I'm a receptacle to the other side, whether it's those that have passed, your angels, or your higher source.
Absolutely. That was beautiful. Thank you for joining us today again, Tracy. Now, we do like to start here at the beginning, and you kind of lined us up nicely there. Thank you. So you said that around 4 years old is when you started to, see things, be able to communicate, with higher powers. Tell us a little bit about how you discovered that and how it was received, by anyone you would speak to about it.
So as a child, abuse started in my life. But as a child, when we come out of the womb, we only know love. And as we're nurtured or not nurtured, we forget about the pure and the innocence of that love that we're given upon ascending to this earth. And so as a child, I only remember abuse. And I was locked away a lot as a child. And as that little girl, I started asking another source that I would see and I would feel to protect me, to keep me safe, to keep my body and my mind as one with that source and allow me to check out of my body so that the pain, I would learn how to endure it. Because at a very early age, by the time I was 6, I knew that this was a life I chose, and to survive it, I had to find another being or another source to put my trust in, because I didn't trust people. So I started hearing God, and I started to believe, and I started hearing people on the other side. They would keep me safe. And then my grandfather passed when I was probably 7 or 8, I think. And I remember him coming to me at school and saying, when you go home, don't be upset, and you might not get hurt, but your mom's going to be crying because I'll have passed away. And knock on her door and tell her that you talked to me and that you're going to be okay, which is the mom. And I did that. And when I went home, I went up the stairs and knocked on her door, and she was screaming, and she said, don't talk to me. Grandpa's dead. And I said, I know. He came to me and spoke to me and said, don't worry, you're going to be okay. That was one of the first times that I can recall that I outwardly used the gift instead of using it for prayer, protection, and knowledge. I knew I was different, but I also knew I was going to be protected. And I kept hearing, you're going to share with others, but not this. I got bigger things in store for you.
Wow. So, at the age of 6, the trauma started. Can you tell us some of the trauma?
Ooh. I was born into physical, mental, and sexual abuse by family members, by strangers, by friends. And what I decided to do at that early age was check out and not allow the word trauma to be a part of my vocabulary. I had to find faith at that early age because something in my head said, you're a survivor, and they can hurt your body. They can hurt your soul. They can hurt whatever they want to hurt, but I got you. And no matter who thinks they're going to hurt you, I will deal with them. Give me time. And I kept hearing that over and over as a little girl. And eventually I would meet people and I heard those voices, but for those people to give them information. And I would say, pardon me, I've got some news for you. Do you mind if I give it to you? And I remember doing that young. I remember going to Balboa Park in San Diego and singing with a blind man. And in between singing and getting the money for him, I would talk to people and give them information. And that was about 14, 15 years old. So it's almost like playing a role, because I did acting as well. You go inside yourself and you find someone else, and then you play that part. But I truly had a conversation with God when the abuse, I thought it was normal. I thought it was normal to eat in the bathroom. I thought it was normal, the things that I went through. I thought it was normal to be touched. I just thought it was normal until later on you find out it's not normal. And then I thought it was normal to talk to God and people that had passed over because they protected me. I didn't know that didn't really exist in real other people's lives.
Absolutely. Now, were you, at the hands of that abuse, once you started verbalizing your talents or gifts, or, was it just kind of like a non-belief type of thing?
So funny you say that, because I remember it distinctly. The person who abused me let me just be honest, because I don't talk to her anymore. It was my mother. It wasn't the sexual abuse from my mother. That was other family members, but the verbal, the physical abuse started at a very, very early age. And in the 60s, neighbors were afraid to call the police. But as I grew up and ran into those neighbors, they all said there was more abuse in that house than one could ever imagine. And if I knew now what I knew then, I would have called the police, which leads me to the next statement. At a young age, I said to my mom, you can't hurt me anymore because I hear things. I see things and God talks to me. And she said, if you ever mention that again, you're going to be put in a mental institution and we will throw away the key. I never want to hear that from your mouth again. And so I kept it quiet until I could bring it to strangers and test that skill set. And I would ask them, I say, I don't want any money, but please don't tell anybody that I'm telling you this, because I don't want to end up somewhere and the key thrown away. And I was afraid of that, but that's how kind of it worked in my life.
Wow. So you knew that you had abilities and you would share them with others, but your mother wouldn't allow you to share those abilities. In some sense, do you think your mother had special abilities as well?
I don't know. I don't have also a relationship with my brother for other reasons that are traumatic, if you use that word. I don't use that T word in my life. They were just events in my life that were negative. He once, when I started getting famous in San Diego, professed that he was a psychic. I'm like, you're not even a good person. You're an abuser. You have you're a sex addict. How are you? God didn't choose you. That's a lie. I kind of feel that God chooses those who, no matter what, will do his work. And no matter what he throws their way, people that are truly, really gifted, our lives might be tougher so that we have the empathy or the ability to dig deeper and to help others with our gifts. Being a psychic, my life is 50 million times harder than somebody else's, but people think that I can tell my own story and I know what's going to happen for myself. No, it allows me to open my soul and go into your soul easier. It doesn't allow my life to be easier. My life is harder because this is the role that I chose.
Understood. Now, what were the, I guess, circumstances that, took you into making it, your profession at such a young age? And at what point do you, I guess, kind of draw the line of, feeling like it is a responsibility to help those and, accepting money from it to, support yourself?
There you go. Right there is so key. When I was young, I was a mom and I got married at like 17, 18. I was a mom at 19. I got kicked out of my house at 15. I finished high school at 16. I started college at 17. I married my neighbor for the wrong reasons. And within 7 months of knowing him, I married him on a dare, went to Vegas, had a baby. I got married, then got pregnant, had a baby, got disowned by my family once again. And I asked God, what am I going to do? How do I provide for this child? I have no friends, no family. Please, God, help me. And I was looking out the window in my apartment and I said, God, I'm at your mercy. What do I do? And he says, if you're ready to contract with me, then let me guide you. And you give me the contract that says you will do this. And I swear you will get a gift for the gift. The gift for the gift is what is owed. You gift, they will gift you back. And I said, but how do I know how much to charge? When I was 17, it was a case of diapers cost $25. So I knew I really didn't need to eat, but my kid needed diapers and formula. I charged for 4 hours. I charged $35 for 4 hours at a 4-hour reading. I didn't know when to start and when to stop. So I made enough money for my rent and to buy my kid food and diapers. That's all I cared about. And I said, God, are you sure I could do a gift for this gift? He goes, it's going to get better, sweetie. I'm going to teach you. You're going to understand that you're a healer. You don't just know how to talk about what's going on, but you can heal bodies and you can talk to animals. I'm going to help you. So I went into all these lanes and then I said, God, I need you to hone my gift to where I can do one thing or two things and really make a difference in the world. I'm going to do this for a living, but everybody out there is fake. And everybody out there thinks I wear a turban and have a crystal ball. Help me, help me. And that's all I needed. I was on the journey. Did I give readings away free? You bet your butt I do. Do I still give readings away for free? You bet I do. Do I give to community in all ways I can? You bet I do, because community is my life. People are my passion. The gift that I get when I need to make a house payment, I've got food and I've got bills and I'm 62 years old. I don't live in a mansion. I've been homeless. I've been homeless with this gift in my life. As my life has gone up and down, as I've given it away up and down, I'm not too proud or too humble, because my life is 20 million times harder than somebody else's. I'll always give of myself. I'll always give my gift. I'll teach my gift. I've taught my gift, but I've also learned that my gift is valued. And I'm not a bookstore, and I'm not a fake. And so therefore there's value to what I give, as there's value to your doctor or your psychiatrist or your counselor. At one time I wanted to be a rabbi and they said, no, you can't, because women aren't rabbis, go be a nun. And I said, I can't, I'm not Catholic. So I value time, space, and spiritual being. And I also have to atone for everything I've said and done in one reading and in my lifetime when I hit heaven. At regular jobs, you don't, you get fired.
Correct. Correct is more at stake. More at stake.
My life is supposed to have meaning, not for myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm a Leo, so ego has to be learned to be put on the side. I have to leave a legacy. And I've got to keep touching souls, because I've died 4 times and come back. And each time he said, you haven't touched enough souls. Get back there, get back there, get back there. I've got to clean as much as I can in the world so that someone else can take my spot. And that's how creation is. So allowing me a gift for the gift, I'm okay with that. But I'll tell you what, I'm not a fraud. And I don't do a hot read or a cold read. I do a soulful read.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of fakes out there, sweetie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This lane is where, even with religion on the flip side, it's where people can prey on your, your faith, your beliefs, your anxieties, insecurities, all of that. And where the place where you feel you can seek solace, or is where you're most vulnerable.
Absolutely. And our higher source sees it.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever does that will atone to it.
They will. They'll see it's real then. They will definitely
For sure
see
they
it's
will.
real then. Mm-hmm.
So I would rather live a life of being humble and not being the victim and not being that T word, but working my life not in fear, but in faith. Mm. And every obstacle and every hand that has been laid upon me, he deals, or she or they or whatever, they deal with them in heaven. Because I truly feel that we are all chosen. And so we have to find our worth here and let go of the baggage that binds us, mm-hmm. so we can live our true, authentic self and find our best and highest good before we're taken from this earth and miss that opportunity.
Absolutely. Yes. I completely agree with that. Now, what was kind of, the next step once you started getting your bearings together? You're taking the messages for what it is, starting to do a little bit more of your work, starting to be a little bit more self-sufficient. What was the next step? What was the next significant, point, or was there some evolution in your gifts, or things that you're finding?
The gifts, yes, they evolve the more you work your craft in your true honesty. So then I felt brave because I had an unlisted number and my name was getting out there. And I've, to this day, have never marketed myself. Ever. Then I decided, you know what? I need to talk to the masses. I need to spread the word kind of like they do in church, but in a different way, to be inclusive of all people and to debunk this stuff that goes on. So I lived in San Diego. I would book the ballrooms of the hotels from San Diego all the way to Santa Barbara. And I would sell tickets and people would come and I would put their name. They would get a ticket and I would pull their name after I talked about heaven, earth, the seven angels, what happens to us when we, ascend to heaven. How do we reincarnate? Do we reincarnate? I would give them knowledge to allow them to think for themselves what the universe is all about. And this stems back early in the 80s. And I would sell out the ballrooms and I would pick a number, and what number I read, I would give them information and pick another one. So it was true and authentic. And I did that, but I also worked a day job. So this was my passion. It wasn't paying the bills because I still didn't know how to charge. I did a lot of it for free unless I was doing the ballroom gig. And to this day, I still have, oh my gosh, some of my clients have been with me for 40 years. They're CEOs now, and they were just janitors back then. And I've gotten them through grief and through consulting them to become the CEO and, relationships. And I was a life coach before there were freaking life coaches. Let's be honest. Then all of a sudden someone gets a certificate and they're a life coach. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
I can't figure what is that word? And then wait, then they're an empath. Oh, after COVID, everybody was an empath. I had to look up that word. What's that word mean? I've been doing these things my whole life. I knew the word metaphysical. Mm-hmm. I knew the word spiritual. People nowadays, they don't even know that word. So my turning point was as I grew and as my following got bigger. There was no social media when I started any of this. It was all word of mouth. And God, I said, please don't ever take my gift from me. Please, please, please. I gave my dad a kidney. I was 400 pounds doing this work. That's when I had the talk with God and said, show me the prayer, please, or I'm going to explode. Another turning point for me was I gave my dad a kidney. I was one of the first living donors in the United States that was a living donor, not a cadaver donor. My dad lived a year and died on my birthday the following year. And when he was in the ICU, I said, Dad, I've got 2 readings. Can I go? And he squeezed my hand. He was in a coma. And when I came back from my second reading, I heard code blue. And he waited for me to get to the hospital. And then he passed. That was another awakening for me. Because a week before my dad died, I was doing this to his back. You know how you do that to just give them some comfort. And he turned to me and he said, I've never believed in what you do. And I'm really sorry for your life and what happened. And I said, Dad, you're okay. You're going to be okay. He goes, no, I'm not. And I go, why? And he said, because angels have come to talk to me. And I now know what angels are. Thank you. I never believed in them and I never believed in what you did. And now I get it. That was a week before he passed. So that was another turning point for me.
Absolutely. And what was a significant, outside of that moment, what was a significant moment for you early on with your gifts where you knew you really had the ability to change lives? Or
when you go up to strangers and they go, oh my God, how did you know that? How do you know my grandfather? How do you know? Wait, what? How did you know? People, how can you see inside my body and tell? I just went to the doctor. When people that are strangers give you confirmation, when you learn that you have to shut it off when you're in public, when you see so much that your whole life you can't shut it off, when you ask God to shut it off for you, That's when you know you've got a gift. Just like a singer. I used to sing also professionally. You know that you're not singing while you're talking. You sing when the music comes. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. You learn when you learn how to turn it on and you learn how to turn it off. That's when you truly know you've got that gift. I think that's a very poignant moment when you trust the other side enough to allow you to go on stage and be vulnerable to thousands of people and know that what you're going to say is going to be God's word, not yours. When you know enough to go outside of your body and trust something else to come in and take it over. Sometimes my voice changes. I always will have clients that are from another country. They're not all English. My clients are from around the world. When I am understanding Polish and I can tell that person Polish words or Italian words or Greek words or a stew that their grandmother made and only they know it, or I can smell something that only that person's scent has, and I'm telling that client exactly what I see or feel or know or the word, and it's poignant and it's dead on, spot on. That's when you know that gift is real.
Mm-hmm. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to say something really quick. This is the second time, and I'm not lying to say it. I'm looking at the screen, and my camera is frozen. And when you start talking before I cut out, I had chills that ran through my body in entirety. And this is the second time we had a medium last week, and this happened, and it happened again while you're on here. So
Do you want me to tell you what that is, sweetie?
What is that?
That's called chills of confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
God is confirming, or source, whatever you call God, goddess. Do you ever get up here where it tingles?
Yeah,
And then
sometimes.
you get chills? That is source coming into your crown chakra. That is letting you know truth is being told. Confirmation of
Okay.
what you're hearing is truth.
Yeah, and then something interfered with us because literally on my laptop I can control it, but my screen is still frozen over here and it would not let me back into my laptop. This is the most bizarre thing.
No, that's called You're asking me how I know,
Uh-huh.
right? God is showing you and your viewers how he works
Mm-hmm.
by giving you a tangible frozen. And the chills of confirmation are your angels and your source saying to you, this ain't no bullshit. This is real. These are the chills. This is me coming in with your energy, not me. Because I said prayer before I started.
Mm-hmm.
This is God saying, I'm ready. I'm ready to share with others what they need to know through her. Let's give her notice.
Yeah, I agree. And viewers, so you see, I was kicked out. I literally could not get back into my laptop. I'm literally on my phone. And I want y'all to pay big attention to this. So I
So
don't know what I missed.
it's
While
okay,
you were
but I need
gone.
to tell you something.
Go ahead.
You are guided by women on the other side, women that when they were young, they didn't have shoes for their feet. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Mm.
On the other side, great grandmother. Great grandmother went barefoot a lot.
Mm.
And I get the dress. She loved to wear a dress. What she's saying is, you have gifts. When you're ready to receive, we are ready to bring it forward. Whether it's automatic writing, you know what that is?
Mm.
Automatic writing, you've done it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you sit down and you let words and scripture or words, sometimes they do scripture, but that was men getting automatically righted, right? That's God and angels there. This is the other side. You already know how to, Sid, to automatic write sometimes. If you allowed yourself to do that more often, that would be your gift. Your gift actually is intuitive. You might get a feeling, you might get more chills. You'll be able to ask, and if you can quiet yourself enough, you'll hear a vibration that's different than your own. And you'll verbally be able to speak word, almost like your premonition. Yours is more writing, more letting your hands are your healer. Hers is more her mouth.
I agree.
Definitely.
And yeah, and it what you're saying is true, because I know we've like we said, we've had this conversation, and I know we're going off note, but we're talking about this because this is really what's happening live, and really what we're experiencing. This is like really going on, and I'm getting chills all through my body. And Tracy and I, we had a conversation months ago, before we booked our podcast, and we've had this discussion about me having a sixth sense and verbally from my mouth, and me dreaming and seeing things in my intuition. But this just really came out on the podcast today, and I'm still getting chills, right?
You will be
Um,
able to. Now, also, I need to tell you to cleanse people, everybody. If you want to purge your energy, you know that T word that I don't use,
mhm,
right?
uh-huh.
How do we cleanse that? You get into a hot bath with Epsom salts and allow yourself to cry. That shifts your energy, that purges, that secretes, that heals you. Let that water, if you can put lavender in it, lavender is a calmer. So we're going to calm while we cry, and we let this stuff purge. Especially you guys, because you do podcasts, you should do it once a week after every podcast. Then when you get out of the bath, take the shower and go hot, kind of hot, and then let the water go as cold as you can through that top chakra, through all of your chakras, your hands, your feet, and that washes your body clean and puts you back into alignment. We don't own that old shit anymore.
Okay.
Allowing yourself to purge and cry with the Epsom salts is a way to rebalance yourself. To cold water, why do people do those cold plunges? Same thing, I've been doing it for years. The cold water, where you get the goosies, those confirmation, you're now realigning all of your energy and washing out what you just purged.
Okay. Thank you. I'm definitely
You
gonna.
both, I've been told to tell you both need that.
Okay. I appreciate that, because me and Sid we've had a conversation about how we talk about a lot of traumas, and I'm an advocate, so I do a lot of the work, and I meditate, and do deep breath techniques. But this is something
This
that,
is a tangible. I work with a lot of people that deal in addiction, that have relationship issues, that are working on their spiritual path, that are trying to get and heal, because I don't like that word. And I work with a lot of people in grief, and grief and that T word, they go together. But
okay.
that's one of the techniques that I teach them.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So if I repeat myself, just let me know, and then I'll ask another question. I wanted to jump back because I don't know the extent of what you and said talk about. Like, I could see y'all, but I could hear nothing. I could see everything that you're doing on the screen. My screen is still frozen right here. But it's allowing me to move things like on my computer. It still has no camera and mute, and I can't even change it. So it's really bizarre right now. But we know there's something like interfering right now. So
Yes.
I'm okay with that. I wanted to go back. I don't know if Sid hit this, but you had mentioned that your brother abused and had a sexual addiction. Did he do something to you?
Many family members did. That's all I'm going to say on that one.
Many family members.
Many family members did.
So we're not going to go. We know
We're
you don't.
just going to say sexual abuse was something that happened in the 60s, and you didn't talk about it.
Mhm.
When you were sexually abused in the 60s, if you were told by people that are older than you or that are abusing you, if you tell someone, I'll kill you. If you tell somebody, I'll kill so-and-so. You can't, whether it was clergy with people or people that you know, or people that would hold you down for someone else to do the act, or if it was older family members, it just was. And that's when, at that early age, what was worse, being hit, being isolated, or sexually abused? At least in the sexual abuse, there's somebody standing there. You don't know the difference when you're that young. You just don't know.
Yeah.
What you don't know until you're older, you become surviving in a cocoon of what's going to hurt first. And then when you grow up, you go, I have a choice now. I used to run away. I was running away at 4 years old. Normal kids don't do that. Oh, yeah, but I thought everybody did. So, I never used the T word in my life, because every time I ran away from being abused, I thought there was going to be something good on the other side, because if not, I had my friends that would protect me. And I knew that I was going to be saved someday. I knew that he didn't put me on this earth as a baby. I knew, and I could tell you what my nursery looked like. I knew from such an early age, my life was going to be hard. I just knew it, but I wasn't going to succumb to it. Whether it was financial, physical, spiritual, I was going to be a leader, and I was going to help people lead the way. I always knew that. I just didn't know in what form.
Wow, that's powerful. Can I ask one more question? And I'm not going to get into it, but I just want to ask, how many different abusers did you have, and maybe the age range, when it started and when it ended?
It started as a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. My first 5 into my marriages. My last husband, I divorced 25 years ago. I married him, husband, because my son needed a father. That's all he wanted for Christmas. He didn't want a puppy. Would have been easier. And I stayed with that man because he said, you fat pig, nobody else will want you, and I want a baby. So I was 27 at that time. I'm your last and only hope. Well, I came down with cancer the first year we were married. I was 27 and had a total hysterectomy. And he said to me, you bitch, all I wanted was a kid. And you fucking bitch, you knew that you weren't going to be able to give me a kid. So I stayed with that man in his drinking and his abuse until my son was 20, because I vowed that my son would have a father figure. And when my son moved out, I said to him, I've lost 200 pounds. I'm leaving you. And he goes, that's fine. I've got a girlfriend anyways. And I've dated, and I feel that life is full of healthy relationships. It's not about what we've endured, everybody. It's about knowing the difference to not endure it again. It's about learning that you don't always have to go to a predator. It's about making better choices to not settle in your life ever when you come out the other side and your life is finally your own. Whether you're psychic, a medium, or not, your life and your choices are your own. Make better ones and wash away all of what was and live in what is, the present. And I've been 25 years single, and I've never settled to be in a relationship. And I just haven't found my person in life. I've never understood what falling in love is. And that's okay, because I know when I get to heaven, I'll love. And I love my clients. I love what I do. I'm passionate about my life. And if God ever sent me the right partner, I would be so open to it. But I don't seek a partner because I'm not going to ever settle, and no one should.
Now, what was the most I guess, standout or significant, I guess, use of your gifts, whether that was a reading or something that
So,
belongs to your medical intuitiveness?
yeah, the problem with, I can't toot my horn, guys, because of the fact that I say a prayer. Okay, I'm going to ask them to show me something. I guess the most standout thing is with how I help people in grief, because some of the people that I know were my clients, and I work with their wives for 20, 30 years. They've been my clients. And I have one client who was my client. He got a heart transplant, and he had been my client way before the heart transplant, and had always been my client. And his wife had always been my client. Well, he got a heart transplant and he passed away at home, and said to his wife, "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry," and died in front of her. He died right in front of her when she had just, yeah, it was really hard. I think where I see my difference is when I help someone who's going through grief and they can't breathe and they can't see their way to the end of the day. And I watch them grow, and I watch the healing from that big black hole that's like this all around them, to finally, after months and years of working with people, whether that it's addiction or grief or trauma, where they learn, and I can see the progress, and I can see their hearts and the healing and the black hole going more and more away until that little black hole is this big, instead of it consuming their whole body. And they've walked themselves off of the ledge of not wanting to commit suicide and realizing that life is better here, and hearing that life is to be lived here. That's when I feel I've really won. When they really say to me, "I think I got it now." It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't remember my readings. So I can only gauge it by my clients. But when you lose someone who's been your client, and then you still connect with them on the other side to all their family members and the things only they know, that trust and that healing, whether it's body from someone who's sick, and believing that we can heal ourselves to a certain extent. We can. We don't have to say, "I've got this and I'm going to go." I'm testimony to it. I've got more ailments than I could shake a stick at. And they always say, "How are you still alive?" Because my will, because I believe I have more to give. We all do. And I believe so much in living in our present and sharing who we are, because we're not ready to go until that contract is up. It's passion.
Powerful. Powerful. I wanted to know, is there a difference in the gift of childhood to adulthood? Because
Yes.
our childhood follows into our adulthood and some of the decisions that we made. Does the
Yes.
little girl that was there ever come back to visit you when you're helping others through their life experiences to stray away from the black hole, to get them to come back off the ledge? Does that presence of the little girl ever come?
And I'm going to say she has to, because she's innately who I am. And I was brought into this world with innocence. I was brought into this world with love and kindness. I was brought into this world with knowledge that I brought forth from other lifetimes. But I was also brought into this world as that little girl with power and conviction, because I didn't let anybody beat me down. Nobody won. No one won. I won. And my faith got stronger. So I look at that little girl, and for years I didn't want to talk about my life. I didn't think anybody would be interested, because I live in the present. I didn't want to acknowledge and give power to the people in my past to talk about them. And now at the age of 62, it doesn't make a difference because I won. Some of them are gone. Some of them are in heaven. Some of them aren't, but I've won. And if I can pass on my story now, that little girl, she could be proud of herself because she made it through. And she's made it through, whether she was the little girl, the teenager, the young woman at 20 years old with a baby under her desk at work and running home to do readings, or the other girl who was 400 pounds that said to her husband, I'm done with you, asshole. I'm going to find out who I am and love her. Instead of loving all my clients and helping them, I'm going to see what I look like behind this mask of fat and own somebody and finally love who this person is. I bring her forward because all of those experiences, God allows me to help others walk their path.
Now,
You just get braver the older you are.
Absolutely. Now, outside of the gaining of weight, were there any other, physical or emotional manifestations of the weight you're carrying, of your readings and of your clients?
Yes. Before I would cry. I have the other manifestations are my voice used to always change. At one point, my voice got so deep when I was in a reading, and physically I could feel them jumping into my body and taking over it. I always will remember that. And them jumping out of my body, and it would just be tiresome. Even to this day, we regulate. We have discussions, me and those on the other side, per person that comes to me. I allow them to jump in, but they got to jump out and not stay in. But that's through prayer. Instead of getting tired when I'm done with a reading, and everybody knows this, just like tonight, even though I'm doing a podcast and I'm not really reading, I'm still in prayer and they're speaking through me, even though it's the story of my life. I say that for protection. When I'm done, I won't be able to go to bed until probably 4 hours from now. Tomorrow night, I'm doing Reading Straight. I'm doing an event where people, like the old days, it's a dinner theater and they ask me to come, and I'm the theater and they're having dinner. They'll take their names. I'll pull things out of the jar, and whoever number, I'll let them ask me a question or just give them information. That might be a 2-hour event, but I'll be high with endorphins for about 4, and then I'll crash and sleep really good that night. Kind of like a musician, but no drugs and no alcohol.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Also, the other thing is, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have this fibromyalgia and some other medical issues. Sid, when I've gotten out of the hospital, I was in a coma for 45 days and I had no voice. And I asked God to give me my voice. When I'm as sick as someone in a wheelchair or I've got no energy, I ask God to give me a reading and I check out, the pain is gone. I feel no illness. I'm asleep. I'm doing my shopping. I'm reading a book. My mouth is walking and talking. And then I say, thank you so much. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank you, everybody that's over there, because now I'm not going to be sick for another hour or two. Thank you. That's my gift back. Exactly. Wow. A manifestation.
Wow.
But wow. I don't remember. So that's why they're telling me.
Wow. Whew. I don't even know where to jump at. Like, I want to ask the question and I don't want to go too far. Sid, did y'all chat about mom? Tracy, did y'all chat about mom a little bit?
Not in too much detail, no.
Okay. Can I ask a question? Just because I like to bring awareness to the audience with being transparent. You mentioned in the beginning that you used to eat in the bathroom, sometimes were forced to eat in the bathroom, and you went through verbal and physical abuse through mom. Are you comfortable with telling the audience some of the abuse that you went through, and what did you do to like suppress? I know the psychic's ability help, but just as an example, how like how you went into your
So
transition.
I was told at a very young age that I was born to be my mother's domestic. A domestic is I was her maid, and I was in charge of taking care of the children, feeding. When I was 5 years old, the neighbors used to call me Miss Windex because I was always with a bottle of Windex. My mother's still alive. I have not spoken to her in 35 years. I am going to be way honest with y'all. In my life, in my 40s, and I come from a family also of mental illness. I had family members to this day that have recently committed suicide on both sides of my family. So mental illness is part of, so you also have to decide, am I mentally ill, like they said, or do I really have a gift? That's another turn of events right there. I had a part of my life where I had a nervous breakdown after I divorced, after my dad died, after my family excommunicated me. And I called my mom once, and we hadn't been talking for about 5 years. And I said, Mom, I'm really ill and I need you. And she said, I don't have a daughter. You're not my daughter. Call me when you're better. And she hung up on me. And to this day, 35 years later, I haven't talked to her or most of my siblings. I chose to find my life and my happiness. And I understood that the karma with these people that abused me was over. And so karma is relationship. I needed to finish with them here from a past relationship in a past life. And when I called her and she said, you're not my daughter, no matter what had happened, I needed her. I realized my karma was done.
Understood. Definitely understood. Now, I know you don't like the T word. You don't subscribe to it. However, do you experience triggers like the, average person with no gifts?
Yes. You know, Sid, you're putting me right where God wants me to be. I could say, damn it. Damn it. God, you guys make me honest. I had a meltdown last week. I was married to that man for 17 and a half years. I was told that if you're married to someone for more than 10 years, you're allowed part of their Social Security when they retire. I said, if it's 50 cents, I'm going to celebrate. I called Social Security and they said, you made more money than he did. So therefore you're entitled to nothing. Sid, I had a meltdown. I had an anger meltdown from the day I was 4 years old, a week ago. And all that came up and I screamed and I cried and I got mad at God because I felt that I finally was going to get my just from one person who abused me. Just one person. If it was a penny, one person. As me, Tracy, not me, the psychic. As me, Tracy, that person who had that hard life, whose events in her life shaped who I am as a woman and as a person today, not just as a psychic. And I lost that battle. And for 8 hours, I was mad at God and the universe and said, why did you give me these gifts? I feel like I just thrown them all away. And I've always compromised. I've always said, I'll give this up if you don't ever take my gifts away. That was always my thing. Please don't take my gifts away. I'll give up everything. You see me giving up everything. I'll be poor again, which I've been. I'll be homeless again, which I was. Just don't take my gifts away. Even in the mental hospital, I said, don't let them do shock treatment. And please, God, I will remember this moment and being strapped down. Please don't take my gifts away. Don't do it. I promise you. And I lost it the other day, and the Tracy came out in me. And I said, at the end of crying and screaming, to want that just from the teas that have been happening and happened in my life in my past, because it came into my present. I then had to ask God for forgiveness because I don't want my gifts to be taken away. Sid, you must have been in the room and you called me on my shit. And I appreciate that. Now I'm getting chills of confirmation because I was human and my past came forward, and everything that I held in all these years and all that faith that I had of justness, I felt got wiped away. And I know that that's a moment in time, but I stayed for 17 years and I had 62 years, and it all came to a head when someone said, no, you can't get that.
Mm-hmm.
You called me on my shit just now. And you know what? I thank you for that, because I never thought I would ever share that with anybody. And now I'm sharing it with the world unknown. So
that's what we want.
Unintentional, but you are welcome.
I so thank you for knowing I'm as human as all of you.
Yeah.
It brought back every single thing in my life, that one moment, but I also allowed it all to flood back away. That's me. That's who I am. But I don't need to own it going forward, because presently it came back into my face and I dealt with it. And I'm allowed to get angry. We all are. But we also know that at 11:59 and 59 seconds, when that clock hits that second, now we're into a memory. And that's what I do. Every day when I don't bring forward what I did today, because tonight at 11:59 and 59 seconds, I take that breath and now I'm into the present. Now I'm into a new day.
Yeah. And we're almost at time, but I do want to ask this really quick because I want to piggyback off of Sid, just to give the audience just something, because we want people to see that no matter what we go through, we still can be triggered. So my question real quick, and then we're going to go into the final question, is what did you do at that moment to cope with that trigger? And do you think that something like that could trigger you again?
I opened a door to the past. I grieved and got angry as hell in those couple of hours. And I said to myself, I'm giving you get 2 hours for this. Maybe if you want 3 for each chapter of your life. Then after a while, I went into my office, which is where I do my readings. And I just sat there and I said, God, I don't cry. I got no tears. I'm angry. I just cried. I guess I purged. I allowed myself space and time. And then I said, and now I ask for your blessing. Moving forward, please bless me in where I need to go. And God and higher power and all those that are on the other side, thank you for holding me right now when I needed you and allowing me to be human and allowing me to feel what I needed to feel at this moment. And I now let it go. And I went and I took that bath and I took that shower and I'm good now. I lost 5 pounds off of that one. Amen.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're at time. So you want to go ahead and kick off, and then, or you have another question?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Okay. So as we close out, we like to end this. If you can give the audience advice or just something, 1 or 2 things, one thing that's fine, would help you start your journey to healing, like a technique, something that they may can try to help them to
Heal.
get rid of them. We don't like to say traumas. We can say life experiences, but to change the life experiences that they went through.
Whoever's event that you were encountering when your event, because it takes two people to have the event that brings our souls into a negative experience, instead of me using that T word, if we use the word negative experience in our life, because it's an experience that we remember, and then we call it trauma because we've given it a word. If you could write a letter to each one of those people and define in those letters what brings up when you're writing that letter, whether you want an apology, whether you give forgiveness, whether you want to tell your side of the story, whether you were fired unjustly and you're holding that in, whether the breakup was you cheating or they cheating, whatever the experiences was, address that in the letter to that person and then burn it. It will then allow yourself to let it go to the universe, so that your angels and your higher power can then start helping you heal. Understand that a life event, whether it's good or it's bad, is what shapes our bodies, our minds, our souls, our spirits, our story. It's our story. Journal it. Talk about it. Talk about it, whether you want to journal it or talk about it in a computer as a memo. When you talk about it, you can free yourself from it. I also am not a believer in those that are going to hate on me. I'm sorry. I don't believe in grief circles. I don't believe in the circles of people that sit in something and you go to the same thing every week and you talk about the same thing all the time and we're glad you shared. Do the work. Find someone that makes you do the work where it's painful, but you find a result, because at the end of the day, you need to look in the mirror and love who you are.
Well, I think that's why I'm having a tough time, is because I try to get people to do the work, and it's like if you give it to them, everybody comes, but when you're real, it's harder. So the work that we do is much harder because we're bringing out the real, and people, we're trying to get them to face what they're going.
When you cheat, you never grow.
Yeah. And
when you do the work and it hurts, you're hurting for a reason, and that's called growth.
Yeah.
Don't let somebody else do it for you. It's your story. Your life is your story. And every part of your life are chapters in that book. You signed up for it before you even got here, everybody. Mm-hmm. Deal with it.
Yes, ma'am. Now we are at the part of our show that we like to call Shameless Plug. So you see your banner scrolling across the bottom here, Tracy. Let our viewers know how they can contact you, utilize your services, anything that you want to draw traffic to, any events you want to draw traffic to, anything you have for sale. You have the floor.
So I don't sell much. I don't even have my books done yet. My name is Tracy Turner, and you can book online from any country, any state. It's tracy-turner.com. And you go in, all my reviews are legit, whether it's Google or on my website or through Trustpilot. You go in there and then you pick whatever is available for half-hour or hour sessions. They're all recorded, whether we do Zoom, in person, or on the phone. And then I send them to you in a download, and then you keep them forever. I started back in the day of cassettes, then went to CDs, and now we're into the download. I do a podcast like this, but on Instagram, where you type in a question and I answer it on the riff, on the spot. Usually I do them on Wednesday nights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And my handle is Tracy, Tracy, Turner, like Tina, Turner, Psychic Medium. I've got a lot of Facebook and a lot of Instagram, but I use Tracy Turner Psychic Medium. If you follow me on there, you're allowed to then ask me, type a question, or go live with me. Most nights, I'm not doing it tonight because I'm here. I go, and it's free. It's how I give back to community. Live from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also Facebook me at Tracy Turner or Tracy Brightman Turner. And you can always find me on Instagram at Tracy Psychic Tracy Turner, psychic medium. I'm working on the books, but haven't gotten them published yet. And my events are local in Southwest Florida. I live in Cape Coral, Southwest Florida. So if you're here in person, feel free to come and see me. If not, I'm every state and every country.
Tracy,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you for giving the real. We appreciate it. I'm going to tell you, my screen over here is still frozen. The only thing that I'm allowed to do for my laptop, so I'm on my phone and laptop. The only thing this is allowing me to do is use my mouse to bring the screens back and forth and the tickers. So if I could take a picture of this and show y'all, it's the weirdest thing. Like everything is muted. I can see you, but I couldn't hear you from the screen, so it's weird. So there's definitely was a message that needed to be delivered today, and there definitely was some interference to try to interrupt the message. Sid and Tracy, thank you for going on and getting everything out. I'll see it once the podcast runs. So Tracy, thank you for sharing your life experience. Thank you for sharing your testimony. I almost feel like you need to tell me something when we end. I don't know. It's a feeling that I have real quick, but I don't
I
know.
need to tell you, don't travel for pleasure right now. You need to save your money. Something big is coming up for you.
Ooh,
don't just travel for pleasure.
Mm.
Something big is coming up. Sid, this is a time of relationships for you. If you're not in a relationship, you will be. Let yourself get out there and be free about who you are. You need to put the shield down and allow new friendships and new relationships into your life. You bring so much to the table. Allow the flower, the essence, allow the bud to open up more in your personal space. You're just about to embark on like so many new things, my friend. So many new things. And you're about really honing what you already know to be true. So opposite. Yes. Yes. You're going to be honing what you know to be true. You're going to be doing some work.
I already am.
In internal work that will way pay off.
I'm doing it
24
now.
months. Girlfriend, you're in another place.
Am I?
Oh, yeah.
I know something, and I'm going to tell you, and I know y'all are getting this live because we're rolling, right? I'm going to tell you something. For 3 years now, I told my kids, I sat on my front, and I said, something big is about to happen. I don't know when God's going to do it. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 or 3 years. And I've been going through this journey with the Good Fight, with helping others through life experiences and working with the youth and trying to catch the youth before they go into a lot of things. But there's a sensation that is going on, and it's getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And I want to give a shout out really quick to my entire board, all the team members on the Good Fight, Unfiltered, Unspoken. Said, I love you, baby, because you have helped me on a level of this journey that people don't even understand. They don't understand how we met, and we're still rocking, and we've hit over 100 episodes, and we have not missed one. Even if I had to come on a couple times, but we rolled it, right? And even this disturbance here, you rolled it, Sid. So, and I also want to give a shout out to Delicia McCain and Rodney Grimes, because they've come in on a big piece of what we're doing. And they have, Delicia has been donating over 6 months now to the rent towards the Good Fight. She's been helping me out. And Rodney Grimes has come in as well within the last 3 months to sponsor, and has been making a contribution to the Good Fight. So it's helping us effortlessly without the funds, because what I tell people is, no matter what we go through, this is priceless. And we're opening gaps that we never thought that we could be. And the good fight is probably a year or 2 years ahead, because God has put blessings of people and changed the circle and has empowered me to say no, and to say no, I'm not doing favors. And if I choose to do it, I will do it being taken advantage of. So I know and I have chills right now.
I get the
Very heavy.
word for you is inertia.
Okay.
I
Yes.
get the word for Sid is creativity.
And she's very creative.
Oh, she is a star. But if she allows that flower and some opening of relationships, that's going to also open and color her creativity in such a big way.
Well, I got a question. See it in a relationship. So what does that mean?
What, say that? She's in a relationship, but
Yeah.
relationship isn't a partner relationship. It could be a relationship in any sense. You get where I'm going with that?
Mm-hmm.
She gets what I'm saying. It
Yeah,
I
could
I
do.
be
get
a
it.
business
I don't
relationship.
talk to nobody. I
Right.
really
And
don't.
she doesn't. She's so closed off. But the more she can open that flower, she will touch upon new relationships that will then guide her creativity to a whole nother level. She's her worst enemy.
Mm-hmm. But we
She
both agree.
sabotages herself the minute she wakes up in the morning.
Ooh, I feel seen. Lord.
But that's relationships. Relationships are trusting someone else in your space. It's not your partner necessarily. That partner earned the right to be there, especially hers. Oh, hail to the no on that one.
Indeed.
She should be
Indeed.
62 years without a partner. You know what I mean? But no, it's not the way God's wiring her. And the more she fights it, the more he's going to put it in front of her face.
Mm-hmm.
And the more she embraces relationship, that's her lesson and that's her word. Your lesson could be very difficult. And that word is hard for her. That word is so easy for you. It's the opposite. But that will open her creativity, which will then open her eyes to so many other things, which will then eventually give her prosperity. And prosperity is not just money. Hallelujah. And
Wow.
you're in the inertia. You're in the rhythm. You're getting your rhythm. That's what you're about. Learn to say
You
no.
are.
And
I am.
God ain't going to hurt you for saying no. Sometimes when we say no, we're learning yes to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Whew. I got chills. I need to talk to you. I have some serious chills going on. And now you have put me on some unanswered questions, because you hit some things, and yeah. Yeah.
But you both walk in one thing. You both walk so differently. Your paths are way different, and they should be. But you walk in faith, not in fear.
We
And
don't.
that's
We don't walk in fear. We do not
so
walk in.
when whoever we are, we learn to walk in faith and not fear. That T word, we can absolve ourselves of that T word. Because faith brings us forward. T puts us in the past, and we need to live in the present to move forward. And that's the biggest thing I teach people.
You're
Okay.
absolutely correct.
Before we get off of here, I want to ask one thing.
Go ahead.
If it's hitting you right now, if this is hitting you, and if it's not, if it comes a week later or 2 weeks later, let me know, because I still need to get on your books. Is there, through Sid and I journey, and this is individually, is there any advice or something that's coming to you that says we need to do something, maybe something different to
So I
hit?
don't know what you guys do, but what I'm going to tell you is there's someone of importance out there that if they heard your call to action, this is being told by God, they would either grant you funds to do what you needed to do, or they would believe in whatever it is your call to action is, and they will push you forward. You are going to meet that person, and you can in the next 90 days, whether it be a celebrity, whether it be someone who's philanthropic, but I don't know if your call to action has been placed enough together or separately to the right people. There's still a holdback. Whether it's your artistry, whether it's your cause, it's called call to action. And I don't know what that is because I see you joined, but I also see you separate. Sid, yours could take about 120 because you've got some things you got to move through in your energy. So in a separate, and you need the word confidence in what you do for a living. Got it? Which also says trust relationships. If you can't trust in the process of relationships, then you might miss that opportunity because that person's out there and you haven't met them. It's not someone you know. She could do it more. She don't need to know who it is because she's got it blindly. But hers is she's got to rub elbows with the right person for her call to action. But once you do, if you can say what it is you're trying to accomplish and they understand it, right, they will back it.
And I have a couple people in my circle right now, and that's why Delicia is one of them. I just met her, and actually a year is coming up, June 15th. Met Delicia June 15th. She has done more for me.
13th was my dad's birthday.
Really? Yeah, June 15th. She has come in just believing in what we're doing and has
she may
opened
be
up.
connected to people, but someone with deep pockets could be a celebrity that doesn't want people to know who they are or what they are. Could be a chef. It's somebody that's walked in the shoes of whatever it is you want to do and wants to pay it forward, but wants it to go with the right people.
Okay.
So also you need to find that you have a trusting accountant in this journey is what I'm also being told to tell you.
I have a trusting accountant.
Because if money comes in, you don't want it funneled out where it's not supposed to go.
I don't. And I'm very tight with that. Everybody knows that any fund that goes to the good fight goes to the cause. And I actually I've been approved for a budget, but I haven't made one penny. I actually took a big risk on what I'm doing to help other people. And that's what people don't realize. And I actually almost lost everything taking a risk. But like you said, God told me to do it, and God is blessing me back now in some form. Like the strive and the hurdle is not over with, but I know that it's coming soon, that financially I will not be coming out of pocket for this. And there's a piece I'm going to chat with you later that has come in, and it's from the lady that I've been talking about. And it's the efforts is to support the nonprofit and what she is creating, and she did not have to do this. It's such a blessing. But we know, and the people that support me, we have also, something is coming bigger, but this is confirmation from you that something more is coming bigger.
So let me also, in closing, never fear a gift of your value to the gift you receive. Correct, ladies?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We are gifted for the value of who we are, whether you get paid and you're a worker, or you get paid and you're the CEO, or you get paid and you're doing God's work, or you get paid and you're doing artistry. A gift for a gift. Amen.
And I've been given those gifts, so they're coming back. They're coming back heavily. And like I thank you for
also don't be afraid to ask for those gifts back.
Okay.
God he's with me on that one. You only get one shot each time you're living, because we don't have money in heaven.
No, and I'm not afraid, but I'm disappointed.
I know you're not.
I'm disappointed because it's some that I have helped tremendously and they haven't gifted back, but I'm okay with that because there's a universe, and there's a universe of people that I don't even know that is starting to gift to the cause.
The other words I'm going to leave you with, and your viewers: we build our spirit to build our reputation. Let your reputation always, when a door closes, another one opens. Be proud of your reputation and always pass goodness. It doesn't need to be monetary, goodness forward, because then it brings back that peace and balance, and it allows your reputation to stand on its own.
And it's free to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube, our Unfiltered Unspoken podcast. That's what I keep telling people. The more you subscribe, God will bring those blessings of supporting the cause. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're getting a gift in this podcast, then gift it forward so they can make a change. You ladies are all about change. You're not about who you are and what you're getting. You're about changing the world. You're about changing the future. You're about being present. Then allow people to share that gift with you and change this world, because it's pretty ugly. But it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't. Whew, we can go on. Tracy, thank you. Sid, is there something else you want to say before we leave out?
Nope, just
I
thank
know
you
we
for
went
joining
far.
us
I
tonight.
know we went long, but it was my pleasure.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate this because you've since said, and I both sides, and we have actually had conversations about Sid, because Sid is sharp. Sid is very, very, she's sharp, and there is a lot of potential greater than what she knows. And Sid knows that I'm one of her biggest supporters. And Unfiltered, Unspoken podcast is definitely a testimony of Sid going out and doing something that she wasn't fully ready to do. And I'm going to thank her again, because you just brought, you brought that up. And I always do, Sid, personally, thank you for going on this journey with me. Thank you for co-hosting in something that I believed in so much. And thank you for not even knowing me. And we've established a relationship, a friendship, a sisterhood, where you believed in me and you supported our journey without even knowing me. You just believed in what I talked to you about, and that is definitely a testimony of how God works. So I want to publicly thank you again for going on this journey with me.
Yes, ma'am, you are welcome. You are welcome. It was, I believe in when things come together a little wonky, it was supposed to be that way. So,
But the growth, just tonight, you guys turned another corner. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Tracy, so much. Well, we went over time, so we hope you watch this to the end. And we want to thank Tracy. So if you're feeling something, and if you believe in spiritual connections, because I agree with Tracy, spiritual and religion is two separate things. Um, Reach out to Tracy, because Tracy said some things tonight that people did not know. And if you watch the podcast, you will see that there was an interference. And this is the second time this has happened, that we've had psychics on our podcast. So there is definitely a universe of interruption, but there also is a power and deliverance from God through this message. So we want to thank you for tuning into Unfiltered Unspoken podcast, where we're going to continue to share life experiences. See, I don't say trauma all the time, just when we're coming in, but I say life experiences because we want all of y'all to start the journey to healing, because the hardest thing is to face your truths, and that reflection is in the mirror. It's not others, it's you. And Tracy has just given a testimony through her special gifts, and she has mentioned it. You don't realize how you can take a life experience or life trauma and turn it into something so positive to not just help yourself, but to help others that are struggling the way that you did. So we will see you next time.